What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you today with the weekly Danmachi news. Now, we have a lot to talk about today. Stay tuned, and I'm going to, unfortunately, have to eat some words I've been saying for the past week and a half, but we'll get to that in a moment. Before we do, let's talk about the Labyrinth City Collection. If you remember, last year during the anniversary, we got to vote on a new Hestia, Eyes, and Bell unit. I don't believe we ever got the Bell unit. I do know we got Hestia, and now we actually have the new Eyes is actually dropping in the game this week. Now, before we get too excited here, let me go ahead and say this is not a new named Eyes. I noticed that it's Youthful Sword Princess Eyes. We already have another kid Eyes in the game. This Eyes is just going to use the regular Eyes CP. This is not fresh CP. You don't need to go crazy for this unit. In fact, I think we already have the other kid Eyes in the game. I don't recollect, honestly. I think we already got one in the game. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is not fresh CP. You don't need to go crazy for this. This will just use the regular CP that we've had basically as long as Eyes has been in the game, since the very beginning of the game. So, in that regard, you can save. Now, what does she do? First of all, HP is 948, which is a really good stat. MP 179 leaves a little bit to be desired. Strength is 412. Now, if you're really looking for a unit that does a really good strength stat, the other, the Chocobo Hestia, actually, she does she's like a, 600 something strength stat, some crazy strength stat like that. So really, in a lot of situations, she's actually going to be better. If you have her max limit broken, you probably don't need this unit. That said, she's wind resistance down 15%. This unit is wind resistance down 20% with allies critical and penetration rate plus 10%. So it's a good assist, but if I'm completely honest here, and I am going to be completely honest, I would expect at this stage of the game for that to be a double resistance debuff. Like wind and another element. It just being wind leaves me a little bit on the fence about it. I really feel like it's not going to be that long before we get another assist that kind of replaces her. Especially considering her strength stat's not that great. There's a lot of wind magic units in the game. I feel like there's going to be a wind assist coming along here before long. Maybe even during the anniversary for all we know. But that is going to have a really good magic stat, and that is going to have wind resistance. I don't know. I get that feeling. I could be completely wrong on that one. But I really, and maybe I'm just looking for reasons not to summon on this one. Now, I will say, bear in mind, at level 60, she's going to be wind resistance down 15% and critical and penetration rate plus probably 7%, I'm guessing. So as a sack unit, actually could be really good at level 60. If you really need the wind resistance, that actually might not be a bad tactic. Now, once again, if there's other wind resistance units we have in the game, no one's 20% yet, but if you have one of the other 15% already maxed them at broken, I'm still probably going to say skip, unless you really, 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 really need a wind resist down 20%, and you could sacrifice these stats. Maybe. That's a big maybe. Like, this would be a unit you might tie in Haruhime just because of her endurance stat. That's about the only person I could see using her on, because everybody else, you're going to want a much higher attack stat than what she has. Notice physical is 412 and magic is 297. Those are atrocious. You're never going to use those on a mainline unit. So it's either like a sack or it's going to be used on Hestia. That's really it, realistically. We'll talk about this a little bit more in depth tomorrow, but I'm a little bit shaky on this one, but again, that's probably just because I'm trying to tell you guys not to summon to save some Iris. Now, I had originally thought we were not going to see this until June. I think somebody said that from one of the live streams. And if I'm honest, I've been telling you guys to save and save and save and save and save. Now, with luck, I personally have 2,000 Iris, and I might wager it all on this banner. And the reason I'm going to say that, and I've been telling you guys to save, I've been telling you guys to save like crazy. The reason I'm going to say that is because once you summon one of these units, you have a whole new CP list. Now, this is like the opposite of what I talked about with Eyes. You have all new CP levels that you can level up, and you can reacquire Iris very, very quickly. Now, these units do have a number of rebalances. I'm going to go through a few of them. I don't have the full translations. I'm still working on the Japanese translations. But Class 3, this is going to be the first banner we get. We have the new Anya. I say new. Remember, these units came out like first year of the game before it even came to global, or before it came to like US, let alone Asia or Asia Pacific or Europe. So these units, while they got really good rebalances for what they are, I don't think I've used too many of them aside from the assists, and even then I was kind of like shaky on them. But I do think at least getting one of each definitely will work out in your favor, so long as you don't spend an insane amount of Iris. Now, remember, you can draw the first gacha for half price, 200. So it is not a very expensive banner to summon on in comparison, but you still do want to be careful. You don't want to go crazy for these units. Okay, first up, Anya, hyper energetic Anya. That is a very applicable name. Anya. So, before, she was superpower physical attack? I don't think she had superpower. Oh, okay. So she was super on her SA. That's it. SA and all animals that are scratched. Wait, what? Only when technology is activated. These translations. I'm using Google Translate to translate the skills, but it says, so now it becomes a super powerful attack. I'm guessing that's an ultra attack. With ultra high probability of penetration, and earth. It says ground attribute. I'm guessing that's earth attack. Physical attack. All enemies that are scratched. I don't know what scratched means. What? Enemies that are scratched? I'm so confused. I have no idea what that honestly means. So the new skill that we got here for skill 1. Charge stake. This is a enemy. Okay, so this is a fast attack. As foes plural fast attack with earth attribute damage. So before she had no element, now she's got earth element. For another 3 turns, reduce the amount of healing of all enemies. So reduce healing by 35% and increase your power by 80%. I'm not sure what your power is, but that might be. I'm gonna guess your strength stat. So looks like it's a self-strength 80% if I'm reading this right, and decrease healing by 35%. So that's actually really good. It's actually really good. Scary good, in fact. Skill 2. So, foes, plural, superpower, earth attribute, so earth, physical attack, reduce counter rate by 30%. When HP is 20% or more, you can actually survive 20% or more. You can survive a single killing blow. However, when HP is less than 20%, it disappears. So I think that's the first one we've seen that's 20%. I think they've always been 10%. No, take that back. I think there was 120% that was an SA. So that's crazy. Like, Anya's actually really good. Oh no, I don't want to summon for Anya. Oh no. I really got to see what the actual translations on this are, but, right now, she's actually looking pretty good. So, skill 3, Cat Inspire. Ultra high probability for penetration. Physical attack. Earth physical attack with powerful power against single target enemies. So, in other words, it looks like it's going to have a big increase on single target attack. Increases power only when the technique is activated. So, I'm guessing when technique is activated. I'm not sure what that means. Really have to wait for the official translations on this, but yeah, she's gonna be pretty good. But bear in mind that's gonna be your single target attack, so don't expect crazy things. And I don't see a percentage there, so yeah. Probably not going to be the biggest hitting attack. Let's say those her 2 AoEs are really good. Let's talk about Hephaestus. Okay? Let me pull her skills up. And once again, these are all like the rough translations from the Japanese. So, sorry if it's not perfect. We'll have it much better for tomorrow's Before You Summon video. Okay? So, Refining of Blacksmith God. Poison resistance and sleep resistance of all allies increased to 100%. Physical resistance plus 15%. So, there you go. So, sleep and poison resistance. Both. But I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be completely honest here. Unless you're really worried about like that specifically in Wargame, you can pass on these assists. Like, once again, get one of this Hephaestus because she's going to be fresh CP, most likely. It doesn't say actually here that she is, but she most likely will be because all these other units are. So probably just get the one and walk away. If you've been playing this game for like a month or so, you probably have the ailment anklets, so you don't really need to worry about all of that. Unless you're really worried about it in Wargame. And honestly, you really are only going to be affected by that when you go up against ailment teams. That said, we just did get an ailment, sleep ailment, no less, assist in here. So there's something to be said for that, but I think that's an easy pass for most of us. And the next on the list is Chloe. This kid, Chloe, let's see what she do. And remember, like I said, these are all going to be fresh CP. Okay. Skill 1. Mid, high probability. Okay. High on guard rate. Physical attack on all enemies reduces poison resistance of all enemies by 75% for another 2 turns. So in other words, she's going to reduce poison resistance by 75%. Interesting. But notice it's an unelemented physical attack, and that always leaves me a little. She's really just here for the poison resistance in skill 1. Skill 2, AOE superpower attack. Earth physical attack. There's a 50% chance of poisoning enemies with 30%. 30% maximum HP damage. Ooh. So 50% chance of poisoning all enemies with. So literally, everybody flips a coin. Heads they get poisoned. Tails they're good to go. That's pretty wild, honestly. But once again, not too terribly worried about that. I mean, this is probably going to be used on ailment teams, and that's about it. And most people aren't building ailment teams. So once again, I think for most people, unless you're specifically setting out to build an ailment team, you could probably just get the one of this unit and walk away. Finally, skill 3, powerful physical attack on all enemies. So this is another AoE. If the target is poisoned, the power of this technique is increased by 80%. So 80% damage if they're poisoned. In addition, give yourself 2 physical attacks. What? Now notice she doesn't give herself any... unless the translation is off here, she doesn't give herself any earth or physical buff. So, still not a terribly, like, scary thing. I don't know. I really honestly feel like this unit is a definite pass. Unless you're specifically building an ailment team in Wargame, this unit is a definite pass. Okay? Class 4. Once again, remember, all fresh CP. Wealth. Let's talk about wealth. And once again, like I said, I will get the better translations for tomorrow's video, but for now, skill 1. Super probability of critical. Okay, so it's got a high critical. Okay, looks like it's actually a super class attack. Is that a super class attack? So high probability of water attribute physical damage. So he's super. It's a super class attack with a high critical rate. Water physical attack. Interesting. Single target attack at that. Currently increase power in proportion to HP. Oh wow. So the higher HP, the harder it's gonna hit. That's pretty impressive. So that's like basically his big attack. Skill 2. Powerful water physical attack. So in other words, it's gonna be a water physical attack. I'm guessing it's a high water physical attack. Increases power only when technique is activated. I'm guessing that's for the when he's got a water buff. There's a 50% chance that all enemies will be provoked. Oh, taunt. It's got a taunt too on top of that. Increases your physical and magic resistance by 50% for 4 turns. Now, here's the thing. Taunt on a single target really is kind of not your best bet. You really, really, really want taunt on AoEs. So I really feel like that's kind of a downside to this unit. Skill 3. This says a powerful water physical attack. I'm guessing that's a low power water physical attack. Single target. Also, it recovers 20% of HP. Okay, so with however much he hits for, he's going to reduce, like basically give you back 20% of that. In addition, give yourself one magic attack reflection. So he's going to nullify one magic attack. Minus SA. Once again, these are rough translations. So, I don't know. Well, kind of a hard pass for me. I'm not a big fan of taunt, like, on a single target. Really feel like it's an AoE skill. There are reasons for it, but not that many. I do like the first attribute, but the fact he doesn't give himself any kind of major buffs, my opinion, pass, but who knows. When we get the official translations, then that might change. Little Goddess Hestia. Okay. Now, this is going to be an assist. Hestia does 45%. So hold up. Okay, so stuns 45% to all enemies. Probably stuns and reduces all enemies' magic resistance and dexterity by 15%. So 45% chance to stun all enemies, reduces magic resistance and dex by 15%. So if you're looking for a stun assist, there you go. That reduces magic resistance and the dex. More the dex than anything else is really nice. Because remember, dex in Wargame, that is, well, all over the place, but really more we're talking in Wargame when you're talking about ailments. Dex does affect how you counter. So there is that to it. Okay? And I believe Lily is the last unit on here that is summonable. We have the other free-to-play unit, but not terribly worried about her at the moment. Okay. Lily. Here we go. Skill 1. AoE quick. Ultra high probability of... Okay, so ultra high on guard rate. Darkness attribute magic. So a dark magic attack. For another 3 turns, reduce the darkness resistance of the enemy by 30% and increase your dark attack damage by 80%. So she's going to produce 80% dark attack damage, 30% dark resistance, which is great, not crazy, but great, for 3 turns. And ultra, so it's a fast attack too, no less. So pretty good stuff there. If you're looking for another dark unit, it's not bad. Evening Requiem. A powerful dark magic attack on the enemies when the attack target is sealed. So, in other words, if the target is sealed, the power of this technique is increased by 50%. There's a 15% chance of giving sleep to all enemies. Interesting. So 15% sleep, but 15% is not a very good ailment skill in this day and age. I don't think that's worthwhile. Finally, skill 3 is a super powerful, super high critical rate dark magic attack on all enemies. In addition, there's a 15% chance that enemies will be sealed. So she does actually seal and sleep. Wow, that's weird. But only 15%. I expect that to be a little bit higher in this day and age. Maybe, I think that needed a buff, but she does give herself 80% dark damage, but she doesn't give herself any magic damage or anything like that. I don't know. I might be sleeping on these units, but I really don't think these units are all that crazy. But once again, it is worth getting one of each for the CP, and they're going to be time limited. So if you don't get them now, you're not going to have too many other opportunities. Remember, we haven't had an opportunity on any version outside of Japan to get these units either way since, like, what, 2017, which the game wasn't even out in most places at that point in time. It was only out in Japan at that time, in fact. So who knows if these units were able to come back around. Plus, like I said, like the CP levels, this is going to be worthwhile. Okay, there are paid bundles for these if you really want to go that crazy. I don't think these units are really worth that, in my opinion. Here are the new login bonuses. A little bit of Iris, decent amount of Hero Fauna, and some more gold tickets. We have tons of tickets to work with tonight. We just got done with the Gold Rush campaign. I still have like 100-something tickets to go, so we're going to be burning tickets tonight like crazy. Of course, 7th Zone is back. We kind of already figured that, and Wargame is coming back tonight, or tomorrow night. Tonight is the last night of Record Buster. Tomorrow, Wargame is going to be coming in, so we're going to be good to go there. So, starting tomorrow. It says 5:13. Remember, this is all Japanese time, so we're generally a day ahead of them. 2020 Labyrinth City Collection Gacha Eyes Selection. Once again, for me, it's an easy pass, but I just don't see the value in her at the moment. Maybe I'll get like one because she is time limited, but I feel like there's gonna be better units coming down the road at some point. Aurario Academia 2, Class 3 and 4 are gonna be here. Remember, Aurario Academia 2 has its own tail that will be live, and we're gonna get a free-to-play 3-star from that as well. It is worth maxing out that 3-star. It's definitely worth maxing out that 3-star. You get the mini bundles. 7th Zone Season 50. Yeah, we had that many. We've had over a year of 7th Zones. I didn't even realize that yet. Wow, it's crazy. And Ultimate Wargame May Season 1. So, new Wargame is incoming. Login bonus starts on Thursday. So, these are all the new things. Tomorrow, we will do a Before You Summon video, and I'll have better translations of all those skills so we can talk about all those at that point in time. But for now, that's the old video. Like, comment, share. I'll be back with you guys with more Danmachi really soon.